Hi, and welcome to the Bay Area Knitter Podcast. I have with me special guest today, Kara Gott Warner.
Hi. How you doing?
Yes.
Thanks for having me, Christine.
Oh, you're welcome.
This is awesome.
She had me on her podcast recently, so turn around.
Yeah. Oh. The Power Purls Podcast.
Yes.
Actually, well, when this goes live, we'll see how this works out. But your episode will be going live pretty soon.
Very cool.
So yeah, so it was a lot of fun. So great to have you on the show.
Thank you.
And thank you for having me on the show.
Well, thank you.
Yes.
And you're welcome. And I'll let you guys know when mine is up on her website, and we'll be telling you all about her podcast. I'll have all the information and links in the show notes. And so without further ado, I'm going to have her tell you about her designing, how she got started knitting, and how she became editor of Creative Knitting magazine. So, Kara,
Okay.
When did the knitting bug start?
Well, I was 12 when I started knitting. My grandmother actually taught me. So when I was about 12, and I dabbled for a couple years, and just like a lot of kids do, they dabble and then they're like, on to the next thing.
Right.
And so I let it go, for a good couple years, and then I rediscovered knitting when I was in my 20s, in my mid-20s. And I worked in New York City. I was working in the garment center. And I'll admit, I was hating life. I was miserable, and I just needed some outlet. And ironically, there was this little yarn shop right around the corner from where I worked at the time.
Nice.
And it had been there for years, and I didn't even know about it, and I had been working for years there. And I just went walking, and there it was, and it was like this mecca,
Oh, yeah.
And I walk in, and I felt like I was going into a little country store.
Just drew you in, right?
Yeah, it was really cool. And I got to know the ladies in the shop, and one of the women, her name is Arlene Mincer, and she's still in the industry, I guess. Not so much. I mean, she's written books, in the 70s she wrote books, but she's just a really kind lady. And so any veterans out there, anyone that's been around has heard of her. And she really took me under her wing and said, you should really consider designing or doing this for a living. I'm like, what is she talking about? How do you do that?
Right?
And so, I just started to learn everything I could. And then I guess, so that was like mid-90s, like I said. And then in 2002 is when I started designing, full time. I had my own pattern label, and so I started doing that in 2002, and started going to the trade shows and TNNA, where we are.
Right.
Well, right now we're actually in San Diego, California.
In Kara's room.
Yeah, we're in my room. I have a balcony. You can't see. It's really cool.
Oh, actually, we could show them.
Could?
Yeah, let's do it
You
now.
want quick, go for it. Just don't show the unmade bed. No.
Wow, look at that view.
Is it
you can
just
see some, it's not
dark?
not a very good view, but you can see a little bit of boats down there. So yeah.
I guess you had to be here.
Right.
But anyway, no, it's great, because there's so much inspiration at these shows. So anyway, so I started going to the shows in the early 2000s, and just networking and getting to know designers and publishers and yarn companies. And it's like who you know, right? So a designer friend introduced me to Annie's, is the company I work for, the Annie's Publishing, who owns Creative Knitting magazine, which is,
who she's
magazine.
The editor for.
I'm the editor of Creative Knitting, yep. And so it was just one of those things where, she said, hey, Annie's, DRG was the name of the company back then, DRG Publishing.
Okay.
And she said, they're looking for an editor, and you're the perfect person.
Wow.
And I said, all right, and that was it. And I just met my current boss here. Maybe it was in Long Beach, maybe it was here in California.
At TNNA.
Yep, met her on the floor, had a meeting. So that was a pretty succinct story, I guess, about my journey from like learning to knit till professional. So
very cool. So tell us what you're up to now.
What am I up to now?
Besides your editing and designing, are you designing more right now or not?
No, I'm not. I mean, I take that back. I do little things here and there for the magazine when I want to. So it's more just for fun, and I do little things. I don't design garments anymore. And so I'll do cowls and hats and, just fun things. It don't have to be graded because I just don't want to deal with that.
Right.
I don't want to write the patterns anymore.
I
leave that to the pros, like you.
That's what I like to do.
Exactly.
Is let the magazines and yarn companies do it.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
And with creative knitting, we don't do it that way. I mean, we expect everything. We put the ownership in the designer's hands. So yeah, it's so designing not so much, but yeah, I'm still with the magazine. So it's been now 5+ years that I've been full-time with the magazine. That actually started freelance with Annie's in 2008. So I was just the hardcover book editor. So I started that in 2007, 2008, thereabouts. And I have a podcast.
Yes.
It's called Power Purls Podcast.
Tell us more.
Yeah. It started in October. So we said that before, so Christine was my guest. So that show will be maybe live when this goes live or close to it.
Soon after.
Yeah. Exciting. And it's a podcast, it's lifestyle stories, but it's really kind of morphed or quickly evolved into this podcast that's really there to help knitwear designers. I felt like, it was my job to pay forward the knowledge that I have and what I learned like the hard way or through years of experience and being out there and pounding the pavement, And so I thought, well, here's I'm just going to give of my knowledge and also explain, like, if you want to work with magazines, even if it's not, you don't want to work with magazines, if you want to be top-notch designer and you need to put that on paper and show a design, what it's going to look like in the finished, when it's totally done. And so that's the kind of information that I share. I've interviewed other editors. Tricia Malcolm from Vogue Knitting, the executive editor and VP. She's been on my podcast. And we just did like an editor to editor episode.
Well, that's very cool.
Yeah, it's the first episode.
Okay.
So now we're about.
That's right. I listened to that one. It was really good.
So we gave some really actionable advice, some real value nuggets for anyone that really wants to work with magazines. And we said what not to do and what to do. And I actually have this free guide. I just really wanted to do this. This. Give of this information. So it's called the 8 essential steps to designing a killer design proposal, and I offer that it's through my website. So it's just like this great guide that can help anyone that really just wants to know, like, if I really want to design, if I follow these 8 things, then you'll probably end up on the top of the editor's pile.
And we'll link to that in the show notes too. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So those are the main things that I'm up to. Yeah. And I do have another podcast too, which you know about.
Right.
The morning Cooldown, because I'm like a big morning person. And I'm always making stuff.
Right.
So.
But do you want to tell us more about that podcast a little bit? So.
Well, sure. Because I've actually
coughing. I keep coughing, clearing my throat.
You're okay. But I've talked about that recently actually on Power Purls, because there has been this kind of overflow. Like one of the biggest reasons why I started Power Purls, or I guess the sign that it was time to start Power Purls, was because I had been featuring knitwear designers like Patty Lyons, Cornelia Tuttle Hamilton. Oh my gosh, Cornelia. She's going to kill me for this because we're good friends. Right? I always get the reverse. Tuttle Hamilton.
I think it's Tuttle Hamilton. Yeah.
But like these are people that these were like viral episodes on the morning Cooldown, because I thought, well, these are people that have routines,
right?
And so they were on the show. And they were really the most popular. So I thought, I think it's time for a knitting podcast. But anyway, so the morning Cooldown is me just sort of rambling. But it started out where I was out on my morning run, and I would record, just inspiration, like just these value bombs, whatever we want to call them. And I like to call it this conduit for creativity, like this time in the morning, because I would be able to, just come up with these ideas and these concepts that maybe wouldn't emerge later in the day, because all those endorphins pumping through the body. I guess
it's fresh in your brain. Right?
Yeah, there's something really special about it. So I encourage anyone, even that's listening to Power Purls, I say, hey, have you listened? I have another podcast, because we all have lives outside of our knitting. Hard to believe,
right?
Right, because you know,
moms,
knitting is
wives.
Yeah, right. And
That
we all get up in the morning, so you do have a morning routine, even if it's like a minute.
Right.
You know, like you get up and you brush your teeth and you go to work. But
right.
but I mean, it's more. It's how to add more dimension to that time of the day. If you really want to achieve more, like let's say you have kids and you even are a stay-at-home mom. Well, if you get up before they get up, it's amazing what you could do. Maybe you want to write your manifesto. I don't know, or maybe not. Maybe you want to just do yoga or journal. You know, write in your journal. And so that's the kind of stuff that I talk about on that podcast. Yeah.
And you do a lot of journaling, and your creative. See, now I'm stuck. The Facebook. You do the creative thing on Facebook where didn't you have like a group?
Create something every day.
Yeah, create something every day. See, I got stuck there.
That's okay. Yeah, no, that's something like, you know, just sort of little challenges to create a thing, whatever it is, every day. So I don't know if I mentioned, so the morning cooldown, well, it's morning cooldown. morningcooldown.com is where that podcast is, and then Power Purls Podcast, morningcooldown.com, and then powerpurlspodcast.com.
Right.
I should have put the podcast after Morning Cooldown, but
that's okay.
That's
And what I do is, so this is so raw, you know, guys. I always just do this unedited.
Yeah, it's great. That's the best way.
Fly by the seat of your pants, right? And then I go back, I listen to it, and I get all the links and get them posted.
Very cool.
So we'll do that. So what are you wearing? I know noticed you're wearing a nice knit cowl.
Yes, this is just something that I designed. I mean, it's simple. You know, it's just like this all over eyelet with like a rib on the top. I've been seeing a lot of this lately too. Like it's like the rib kind of sweater look. Like, you know, you see some scarves that have like ribbing on the end. So it's just very fashiony, you know, to have that ribbing right now. Yeah. But it can be a capelet, so it's pretty, you know, it's pretty.
Oh yeah. Does it stretch over the shoulders and? Yeah. Very cool.
But I like the cowl thingy.
I do too. Yeah.
So, and I don't remember the yarn, and I know after we're done I'll remember. But it's a very beautiful.
If she thinks of the yarn, I'll post it.
It's a very beautiful hand paint. Yeah. Hand paint yarn.
So we'll put that in the show notes.
Okay, I hope I remember.
I'm sure I'll find it.
I know, like,
I'll bug you.
That's it.
I'll be calling you.
Because we were trying to figure it out. I'm like, it's a woman's name. Like, it's one of those. Let's see if anyone knows. Maybe you can put it in the show notes or the comments or whatever. I mean, the comments. It is a yarn company, so it's hand paint yarns. Like, they're very vibrant colors, and they're like hand dyed. Or hand dyed, not hand paint.
Claudia?
No.
I was like, Claudia hand paint.
But they're gone. Like, I can't really feature this in the magazine because it'll be gone. You know what I mean? It's not available. So it's a woman's name. Like, it's a yarn company. It's her name, and I can't think of it. It's like on the tip of my tongue.
And
I know they're here.
Are they here?
I don't know. Actually, now come to think of it, I'm not sure if I even saw them here.
Yeah.
So let's see if anybody knows. Like, okay, let's see. Here.
There you go. Oh, that looks nice. Look at that. Very cool.
Okay, name that yarn.
Name that yarn. It's a contest. The winner gets the cowl. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No. Didn't mean to put you on the spot there. No. We're not giving away the cowl.
I've worn it too much. You don't want. I've been wearing it.
No, we're not giving away the cowl.
I wear it to sleep. No.
It's all sweaty.
It's got drool on it. No, just kidding.
Right.
See, I said maybe I'll be funny. But I know. That's funny. That might just be like, oh.
We like that.
Whatever.
We like comedians, and it's good to laugh. It's good for your health.
It is.
It is. See, it's very good to laugh. So let's see. Oh my gosh, that's only 14 minutes. You talk fast.
I guess I do. So how long do you usually like to have your episode? I mean, that's okay, because sometimes these little nuggets of time are they're good, bite size, because people are busy. You guys are busy, and you know, so I don't think that's a problem.
Nope. And I've had a lot of people. One time I did ask the question, and what length podcast is good for them, and I had people say 10-15 minutes. You know, they like to just do it quick, taking a break.
I think that some you know, just because I'm a podcast consumer and also a podcaster, and that they're saying, you know, like a lot of people are saying that magic number is like the 15 to 20 minute mark is like popular now, because you know, you just get like a little something that you can digest and consume, and those types of podcasts, because I'm like a binge podcast listener.
Right.
Like I'll download a ton of podcasts on my phone, and I'll just like listen to, easily I could listen to like 10 a day if it's like on a Saturday.
Oh yeah.
While I'm cooking, cleaning, knitting, especially knitting. And I think that's one of the reasons why I was really attracted to listening to podcasts, because I used to read so much. And I admit I'm seriously guilty of
not reading.
Like I don't read. I don't read. I'm impatient because I'm like I want to knit, and so I started listening to audiobooks and a lot, but mostly podcasts, because there's something about audiobooks that for some reason I don't connect to as well, because either read from the book, and so it doesn't feel as personal.
That's true.
But there's something I feel like when I listen to a podcast, because it's a conversation. I feel like I'm hanging out with them, and I feel like I have company, and and while I'm knitting, or when I'm in the car, or I'm out running, that's a really they're It's enjoyable. It's really great. So. It's a big part of my routine.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I know, like I have viewers that will say that they sit and knit while they watch, and it's like we're knitting together, or they've got company. Yeah.
Exactly.
So that's cool.
Yeah. So what kind of knitting podcasts do you like? Do you have any favorites that you listen to, or we don't even, they don't have to be, they can be podcasts that help your knitting.
Right.
Now
you're going to ask me questions?
I know. Oh, am I allowed to?
I'm just kidding.
Well, I'm trying.
No, I do like Susan B. Anderson's podcast.
Yeah, you just shared that with me today over lunch, and I didn't realize that she had a podcast.
Yeah.
And I have to check that out.
She'll podcast from different areas. Like she'll be on vacation, and she'll take her laptop out to the lake, and she'll sit and just kind of chat about her vacation and what she's just done, recently, and
that's a lot of fun. That's a lot of fun.
I try to keep mine kind of like that when I'm just by myself. I'll be in the kitchen and I'll be just talking about what I've been up to, and
I think that's why I really enjoy the that switching of gears from Power Purls to Morning Cooldown, because one is off the cuff and the other, not that it's scripted. I mean, Power Purls isn't scripted, but I have a guest, and it's kind of like there's a routine as opposed to oh, what's on my mind today? I listen to those kind of.
It's hard when you're by yourself and it's like nobody to talk to, and hard to think of things to talk about.
Sometimes those podcasts are good, and other times they're not, because if they're too personal, then they don't work.
Yeah.
But if they're presented in a way that they give value, like they're giving something that someone can walk away with, even if it's just to feel like super inspired by their words, So I think it depends, But yeah, I know that Susan has quite a following, and I have to check her. I have to check that out. That sounds, just the way you described it, sounds like it would be a fun listen for sure.
The other one I like is Wolf Farms. I follow Dawn Wolf on Instagram, and they've got a farm.
Oh, wow.
Her and her husband, they do the podcast together, and they're both knitters. And they have pets. They've got little dogs and cats, and they'll even bring their pets on. And
you'll have to send me your listening list, and I will send you mine.
Cool.
I've said that too, even on my podcast. Like, oh, I'm gonna post. And that reminds me. I said I would post my podcast listening list, because why not? I mean, share the love.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's true.
Yeah.
All right. Well, can you think of anything else you wanted to share, or is that a wrap?
I think that's a wrap. I think we had some good conversation here, don't you?
Yeah, I do too.
And we almost hit 20. Did you want to reach 20?
Wow, one more minute. What should we do? Do a selfie? No. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Screenshot.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. Okay. It was great having you. And next time I see you, maybe we can do it again.
Sounds good.
All right. Bye, guys, and happy knitting.
Bye.